A seasonal fire lookout is sent to an aging tower deep in Glacier National Park. The days are peaceful, the nights are still. Until she sees a little girl, barefoot, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, standing at the edge of the tree line. At first, she thinks the girl is with a family of visiting hikers. But as the days pass, the girl keeps returning, closer each time. Same clothes, always barefoot. Then one morning, she receives something from the little girl, an extraordinary gift. This is Odd National Park, where the natural meets the supernatural. Odd National Park features your true paranormal stories about unexplained experiences in national parks and beyond. If you enjoy the show, follow Odd National Park and visit the support page on our website to help us pass your strange stories down the trail. Thank you. Tonight's story comes from Casey, a former seasonal employee who worked in Glacier National Park. She shared her personal experience through a personal journal she kept while stationed alone as a fire watch lookout. Some details have been changed due to the nature of this type of work, but the heart of Casey's story remains untouched. Glacier is one of the most striking landscapes in the U.S. National Park system. Over 1 million acres of alpine meadows, rugged peaks, and forests so dense they seem to swallow the trails. It's a place shaped by ice, wind, and time. Each summer, fire lookouts are stationed in remote towers across the park. Their job? Watch for smoke and report what they see. But when the nearest person is miles away and night falls over the high country, what they feel is a different story. Tonight, we follow one of those lookouts through a stretch of summer where the quiet grew heavier by the day. The nights turned uneasy, and a presence began to appear at the edge of the forest, silent, watchful, and waiting to be seen. Here's Casey's story. Hey James, when I heard about your show, I knew I had to send my story to you. I had a very strange experience while working in a national park, something I still can't explain. About 10 years ago, I worked as a fire lookout in Glacier. I was assigned to Lookout 58, an older station not far from the Western Ridge. It was still in use, but definitely showing its age. The place creaked even when there was no wind. The tower felt like it had a personality all its own, and eventually it was decommissioned. The ranger who gave me the assignment said people called it the ghost tower because of strange things people reported experiencing up there over the years. I laughed it off, thinking he was just messing with the new recruit. I couldn't have been more wrong. For the first few days, it was everything I hoped for. Long stretches of quiet, a view that went on, and no cell signal. Just me, the trees, and the sky. Occasionally, hikers would make their way up to check out the tower, but that was rare. I was essentially alone. In addition to the official logbook, I kept a personal journal, just something for myself to document my life. Sketches, to-do lists, goals and dreams, the usual. 5 days in, I was hiking back from an overlook when I noticed movement near the trail. A little girl. She couldn't have been more than 8 or 9. Long dark hair, barefoot. She was wearing what looked like a pale blue dress, something old-fashioned, like out of an old photo. She was standing just off the trail, watching me. I called out, but she turned and ran. It caught me off guard, but I wasn't scared. I figured she was with a group, maybe a family hiking up for the view. But no one came up that day, or the next. A few nights later, I saw her again. I was out on the catwalk when I spotted her, just at the edge of the clearing. Same dress, same hair, same bare feet. She stood far away enough that I couldn't make out her face, just the shape of her. I grabbed my headlamp to get a better look, but by the time I swung the light around, she was gone. It kept happening after that, always in the evening, always watching, never making a sound. I tried to come up with explanations. Maybe she was camping with her family nearby and liked to wander. Maybe I was just seeing shadows and convincing myself it was her. But there were no voices, no tents, no campfire smoke, nothing. And then something extraordinary happened. One morning, I found my journal open on the desk. Tucked gently inside the pages was a tiny bundle of wildflowers, fresh, carefully arranged, and tied with a thin strand of grass. A glacier lily, a tuft of bear grass, a single purple aster. I hadn't picked them, and I never left the journal open. I stood there for a long time staring at it. Flowers were beautiful, delicate, quiet, but there was something else in the way they'd been placed, something intentional. I checked the lookout from top to bottom. Nothing else was disturbed. The windows were shut. The door was locked from the inside. Later that day, I radioed the station. I kept it casual, told them I might have seen a child on the ridge earlier in the week. I asked if there had been any missing persons reports in the area. There was a long pause, then static. Finally, a voice came through. "No reports. You sure it wasn't just a hiker?" I said I was sure, but it was clear they didn't think much of it. The next morning, I caught another glimpse of her. She was closer to the tower this time. A few days later, a small team came up for a supply drop, including the same ranger who had given me the assignment. Along with the supplies, he handed me a beat-up binder. "I think you'll be interested in this," he said with a smile. "Tower lore," he added. "People like to keep track of the weird stuff." That night, I flipped through it by lantern. Halfway through, I stopped. There was a photocopy of a missing person flyer, yellowed and creased, dated 1979. A little girl, 8 years old, last seen near the western ridge. She'd wandered off while up here with her family and was never found. The photo was grainy, but I recognized her. Same dress, same dark hair, same tilt of the head, like she was listening to something just out of frame. It was her. I didn't sleep that night. I sat with the binder open and every lantern in the place burning. She didn't come back after that, not once. But as I stared at the photo, at that same pale blue dress, that same tilt of the head, I kept thinking about the flowers. Glacier lily, bear grass, aster. I knew what they meant. I'd picked enough wildflowers over the years to remember. Glacier lilies bloom after snowmelt. Bear grass survives where almost nothing else does. Asters are for memory. She left me a message. I stayed through the end of my assignment, logged the smoke, the wind, the routine details, but I never mentioned the girl in the official log. I kept my journal, but before I packed up to leave, I wrote one final note and tucked it into the binder with the missing person flyer and placed it in the drawer under the radio. I wrote, "If you see her, try to listen. I think she's still out there." Fire towers offer perspective, a place to rise above it all, to watch, to wait, to provide safety in the stillness. But elevation doesn't mean escape, and some silences aren't peaceful, they're patient. Casey went to Lookout 58 expecting solitude. Instead, she found a presence that never spoke. It watched and chose to be seen. It didn't leave a warning. It left wildflowers. A glacier lily for return, bear grass for endurance, an aster for memory. It wasn't just a gesture. It was a message. And now, Casey has left one in return. Because maybe what haunts us most isn't what goes bump in the night. It's silence with something hiding inside it, something waiting to be found. If you've experienced something strange, unexplainable, or profoundly haunting in a national park or anywhere in the great outdoors, we'd love to hear about it. Go to oddnationalpark.com and send it to us using the Share Your Story form. And to help keep our little campfire burning, visit the support page on the site. Every bit helps us continue exploring where the natural meets the supernatural. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'm James, and this has been Odd National Park.